Welcome to Clarity and Purpose. Our world is full of people who are overworked and overwhelmed. They lose focus on what matters, struggle to find a vision for the future, and lose time with those they love. We help businesses and their teams clearly understand their purpose and help them communicate more effectively. I'm your host, James Thorne. I'm joined by my co-host, Jake Jordan. Hey, Jake.
Hello, Captain, my captain.
Oh, man. We're closing out 2020.
We are.
Are we happy to be done with 2020?
Oh,
You
gosh.
didn't know?
Well, it's just so big and heavy. I can't even tell. It's like, yes, we're almost there.
I love the memes where there's like people holding a pole to a door and it's like creaking it open. It's like 2021. What's going to happen? We don't know. But you know what? We've had a great time, and Clarity and Purpose has been an incredible show. We've been bringing some incredible people. So we thought we would end the year by doing a little mashup. So it's a little different. We're not bringing on a guest, but we're bringing on our past guests with some little sound bites. All the guests. Or so you can meet them all. Not really. You're going to meet some of them.
Children.
So we're going to do a little mashup. We're going to play some clips of some of our favorite parts of our episodes. Wish we could play them all, but we only have a short time. But you'll have to go check them out if you haven't listened. So let's kick it off, jump into our first little sound bite.
If your kid came to you, say 25 years from now, 30 years from now, your son, your kids are, five and three. Yeah. So let's say in 25 years, your son comes to you and he says, Dad, I've got this situation. And he begins to unpack the exact same situation, anxiety, feelings, all of the things that you're feeling in this exact same moment. And then he looks at you and says, what should I do? What should I do? And usually within about 5 seconds, people go, well, I would tell my kid to do this, 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 and this. And you're like, all right, well, why would you do that? Well, because I love him and I want the best for him. This is the advice I would give him. And they asked me for the advice. And it's like, okay, well, guess what? I think you just discovered the steps that you need to take to make the next move in your life.
All right. That one to me, man, when Chris shared that, and of course you visualize yourself, right? You're standing there looking at your child or, close relationship, and you're thinking, what would I really say? That to me, like thinking about how hard it is to realize what you're going to do for yourself, right? To me, it just puts such great perspective into realizing what you should say.
Yeah, for some reason, we put this huge onus on ourselves when we're thinking about ourselves. We don't just take the advice that we probably already have sitting right there. We even, on several of our episodes, when we're talking about story brands, we're like, it's so hard not to write thinking about yourself and not the client first. I don't think it's any different in this situation. You're always going, well, can't be that.
Right. And this year has been a whirlwind for majority of people.
I heard.
And, you get sick and tired of hearing, pivot and changing everything up, or, the new normal, whatever. But the reality is a lot of us have no idea what to do, and we're trying to figure out what steps to take. But it's interesting how easy it is for us to give other people advice.
Totally.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's good to look at our own lives. And I just thought this was such a powerful episode. So I'm going to jump into another clip from the same episode with Chris.
Ask yourself that same question. What is your long game? If somebody said, what's your long game? Can you accurately describe why you're doing the thing that you're doing today and how the outcome of that is going to play out years from now? If you're 27, you're like, I don't know, my long game is figure out if I want to be a banker. And then it's just like, I want to challenge you to think about your long game. Like, what is the story that you want to be told of you?
How'd that one hit, Jake?
That sounds a lot like Hero on a Mission to me. That's
yes.
As BMS coaches, business made simple coaches, one of the main things we love doing with people is helping people think 10-year, 5-year, 1-year in their vision. And until you've connected your own thoughts and passions and like your obituary, like what say about me when I'm gone, it's hard to get there. And Chris nailed it.
Yeah, and it's like you said, hard to get and figure out like how in the world would I write out what people are going to say about me when I die, or even thinking 10 years out. Sometimes it's so hard for people, but you can actually do it, and there is a framework to walk through. So yes, small plug here on the mission that we can definitely walk you through the workshop. But when I think about even parts of the episode when he talked about, people that are millionaires or people that are making a lot of money, they're thinking in decades. Versus people are thinking in week to week or day to day based off of even poverty level and different perspective think that way. But I think to me what I took at is not necessarily making a ton of money, but it's a higher level approach of thinking that helps you look. Say again.
Having vision. It's the difference in
vision. Yes. So I thought it was so powerful. And if y'all, you need to go back and listen to the episode. It was our very first one, and we couldn't have had a greater kickoff to our Clarity and Purpose, bringing on Chris Graby, CEO of Startup Camp. So go check out episode 1. All right, let's roll into our next clip with another of our guests.
Purpose influences attitude and perspective, I think. And attitude and perspective are the heavy hitters that shape our experiences and our outcomes when we're going through different types of seasons in life.
Purpose.
There might be something to
that. And it's something, yes, he's making a line there. Obviously, it's what shapes. But it's the whole reason we started this podcast, Clarity and Purpose. Like, we were learning to do podcasts and shows, and we were trying to share what that looked like for Quirk, and we were having fun with it. But then we sat back and we thought, what do we really want to focus in on, hone in on? And clarity and purpose were the two words that made the most sense. Because yes, you need clarity to help and support your business for what you're trying to communicate. Because some people, it's just so cluttered. But the purpose piece, it's like, why? What's the whole purpose? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, and the second that is, he said attitude, right? And we got a nice big old heaping helping of attitude adjustment this year, where we get to decide what type of attitude we wanted to have. So the attitude you come out with and the purpose that you're heading towards, that's actually one of my favorite lines of all the episodes this year. Is that attitude and purpose shape your future?
Yeah, that was good. There's so many good things that Bill, like he has walked through. Transition is his theme. He has walked through transitions after transition, have done it in such a great way. So it's neat to think that, some people have walked through transitions just this year, even monthly, transitioning. And he, I would say, is a leader in transition. So if you haven't listened to the episode, check out episode 3 from Clarity and Purpose. You'll love Bill Leckie, and we're so grateful that he spent some time with us. All right, let's go check out our next one. I love this guy. He's a lot of fun. Let's play this clip here.
I worked for a nonprofit that did leadership development events for middle and high school kids. And so every week we had new groups come in, churches, schools, etc. Mm-hmm. And we would take them to SeaWorld, do behind the scenes tours. They'd see the Shamu show, ride the rides and all that. Well, about week 4 of my first year, I got kind of bored with our routine. And so I thought, I'm just going to start telling people that Shamu is the robot. So I concocted this whole story. And I didn't know it then, but I later discovered it was the same. That was the same year I used to tell people I was an underwater firefighting major.
This was a lot of fun, right? Like, Wes Gay, not only is he just a great dude to be around, a lot of fun to hang out with, he is an incredible storyteller. Like, and that is what shapes the world today, right? Since the beginning of time, storytelling has been the number one shaper of, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can tell stories, you're captivating. And that was just such a fun piece of hearing about, him having those experiences, and then people believing, like, people literally were starting to believe.
Well, it's crazy and he brought some really good thoughts and stories, of course, around this concept that people will believe what you have to say, even if it's not true. If you create a framework, if you create a story arc that people can get into and sort of believe, and that's was Shamu is a robot thing, right? Because if you don't know any better, why wouldn't you believe it? Because it's a great story.
Right. And I just think what's so cool about even the clarity side of what we talk about, like bringing clarity to that story, making sense of it, but just creating the great story around it is something he does really well. And we learned a lot from him in the story brand world. He's a certified guide as well. So we're just grateful to bring on Wes Gay. That was episode 5. So if you want to go check out that whole episode, go check out episode 5 and Clarity and Purpose. All right, let's kick off the next clip.
And for the person who's about to give up on their business, I would say you probably only have 2 more minutes. I mean, and translate that however you want. 2 more months of effort, 2 more
meetings, 2 more
meetings, 2 more strategic moves, 2 more whatever. You're probably just 2 away. Don't give up. Delay your gratification, because there's something that's gratifying about saying I give up. And it's saying, well, I couldn't have done it anyway. So you prove yourself right. Instead, why don't you prove yourself? Start thinking the kind of thoughts that would prove yourself right, and you'd be glad that you proved yourself right.
Nika Maples killed it on this episode. Yeah. Not only did we have a ton of fun, we laughed and laughed, and I'm so grateful that we're friends. Everything she says to me, I can always get emotional on. Like, there's just something about the way she communicates is so incredible. But how did that hit you? I mean, that just talking through that.
Well, she's your teacher, right?
Well, she was. So she was my high school teacher, and she did that for a few years before she started getting into writing books and then being a communicator and whatnot.
Yeah. So it's, to me, that says volumes, that if you're willing to go back and reach out to a teacher from high school because you value them so much, that doesn't even really matter what they say at that point. Just the fact that you're going back, seriously, you're talking to a teacher. Because if you think about all really fantastic stories of these really successful people, and they're like, it was my 6th grade teacher, I owe everything to her. So to me, just the fact that you had her on the show speaks volumes. And then on top of that, she's a fantastic communicator. So even in that clip right there, like I had not really thought about that point, that by giving in, you are doing something for yourself. Mm-hmm. Even though it might not be your best choice, you're still being selfish and going, see, I knew I couldn't do it. And I just never thought about that before. It was awesome.
And the line of "you're proving yourself right."
Yep.
Man, that's powerful. You are proving yourself right. Yep. I think, especially in the world today, so many things going on. You're speaking things over your life that you shouldn't be speaking. And man, only because I love this episode so much, we're going to roll into the next clip, another one from Nika.
And I think so what people do, even when they're creating a business, they're worried, oh, I think people are going to think I'm charging too much, or I think people are going to think that this is not needed in the marketplace, or I'm just worried that people are, and they're focusing on these side people who are their personal friends and family. But they may not be called to serve their personal friends and family. And they're called to, they are ultimately, I guess, on a personal level, they're serving their friends. We all are. But I'm talking about with business,
right?
They're specifically supposed to focus on, it doesn't matter what your mom thinks about your business. You're not serving her. You're serving this particular client or group. And you will get clear on your purpose when you focus on them. What do they need? What will benefit them today?
Yeah, it's so good, because when you're called to a mission, there's something that you're headed towards. I find that people that have found that don't care what their parents say and what their friends say, because they know where they're going and they know who they're helping. Right. That haven't quite dialed it in yet, or they know there's something, but they haven't quite gotten there yet. That tends to be more people that fall there. And there's a lot of us these days that are there. So it's not a bad thing. It's a different context.
Yeah. And even to that point, just because I'm thinking about it, my mom, love her to death, she still can't articulate what we do. And it just doesn't make sense to her. It's just not in her train of thought of business coaching and marketing. But that doesn't matter. And I don't get caught up on, oh, she needs to understand what I do. I'm just hurt to understand me. It's like, no, because I've got different people I'm serving. I'm serving her through our business. I'm serving her through what we make on this business, So, but Nika Maples, an incredible human being. She is really, I would say, shaping women today in an incredible way. So, episode 6, if you want to go back, Clarity and Purpose, watch episode 6 of Nika Maples, and you will not regret it. All right, let's kick it off one more clip, because I know we can't take everyone's time today, but let's watch one more clip from our show.
For us, pre-COVID, we were a life skills training app for high school students. Post-COVID-19, we're a bite-sized video training app for remote teams, right? And I think the biggest learnings for me and insights was that you have to be open to adapting the what, but not the why, because our why still was intact, and our why was really equip every creator with the skills, mindset, and opportunities for a fulfilling career. Pre-COVID, it was every student. Now it's every creator, because we realized, our market just got bigger, right? Because universities, high schools can still use Guide, but it's just not a consumer ed tech application. It's truly a platform B2B company.
Yeah, man. Tim Salau is one of my favorite people. You could see he's got this infectious laugh and smile, and he builds communities. That's what he does. He's just so good at it. And so when you get a guy like that building business out, dude, he's a perfect fit for our podcast, because we're trying to highlight these people who really care and are doing it through business.
No, I agree. And that line on you don't change the why, it's the what. And that totally drives into our purpose piece, the things that we care about so much. People are like, oh, it's my why money, or it's my why my family. No, those are your whats. Your why is much deeper. And when you fully discover what those are, it's why I love getting up in the morning doing what I do. I love getting up and going to work. I love working. Yeah. I have to pull myself away from work to spend time with them, because I love to do it. And it was great to bring Tim on. I love his perspective and what he's doing and how he changed, even in the midst of everything going on, to really serve his business and the people he's trying to help. So that was episode 12. From our Clarity and Purpose show, and we didn't even get to all of them, guys, right? I'm gonna name different numbers. When we just, in between this show and Tim, we've got episode 13 with Joey and Leanne Turner, incredible people, generosity. We've got episode 14 with Chris Borland, another incredible writer, communicator, and episode 15 with Connor Mooney. You're gonna love that one, about a tool that we use pretty much every day. With Zestful. So go check out our episodes. That was a fun mashup. Hey, thanks for closing out the year with us. Looking back on some of our episodes, we've had a lot of fun. We're going to take the next 2 weeks off, so we hope you enjoy your New Year's. And as we're going into 2021, being hopeful and excited about what is to come. And we will be back the week of January. I was about to say July. We ain't going that far out. Week of January 11th.
Yeah, and if you're on YouTube, do all the things. Hit the notification, hit the bell, subscribe. All the things. Next year, the guests are going to continue to get more and more amazing, and just have more and more things coming, because we're out there looking for people that are doing really, really amazing things through business. So you can only imagine we've just scratched the surface of that.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you 2021. We believe when a business leader aligns their team with their message, they become unstoppable.